Have you ever heard something so strange you thought it had to be fiction?
Like something out of a movie or a book?
Exactly. Well, today we're diving into a real situation that's so wild a federal judge compared it to Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, wow. That sounds interesting.
It is. The judge actually said something straight out of the Queen of Hearts playbook off with their heads.
No way. Seriously, what happened?
It all goes back to former President Trump and his attempt to punish a law firm he didn't like.
I think I'm starting to remember this. It involved the firm Perkins Coie, right?
You got it. Perkins Coie, a firm with a long history of representing Democrats. And that's where Trump's Queen of Hearts moment comes in. He basically tried to use an executive order to kick them out of any dealings with the federal government.
So no working with federal agencies, no entering federal buildings, nothing.
Pretty much. We're talking potentially barring all of their attorneys. All because Trump didn't like their political ties.
And this is where the judge stepped in, right? Saying it was unconstitutional.
You know it. Judge Howell, the federal judge overseeing this case, ultimately blocked this executive order. She saw it as a clear act of retaliation and a violation of the First Amendment.
I see. It's that whole thing about viewpoint discrimination, isn't it? The government can't punish you just because they disagree with your opinions or who you represent.
Exactly. Judge Howell called Trump out on that directly. She said it was clear that he was trying to punish Perkins Coie simply because he didn't like who they represented.
So in a way, she was protecting their right to free speech and association.
Absolutely. And she didn't mince words either. In her official ruling, she said that the executive order runs head-on into the wall of First Amendment protections.
Wow. That's a pretty powerful statement.
It is. It shows how seriously she took this threat to constitutional rights.
So let's dig a bit deeper here. Why exactly did Trump target Perkins Coie in the first place?
Well, as we mentioned, they have a long history of representing Democrats. And they notably represented Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign.
Right, that makes sense. But wasn't there something else, something about a controversial dossier?
Oh, you're talking about the Steele dossier. That's right. It was an unverified collection of allegations against Trump, and Perkins Coie was involved in commissioning it back in 2016.
Ah, that explains it. Even though the dossier's claims were never officially proven, it seems Trump never forgave Perkins Coie for their role in it.
Exactly. And you can see how this executive order fits into that narrative. It looks like a direct attempt to punish them for something that happened years ago.
It definitely raises some serious questions about the motivation behind this whole thing.
It does. And it makes you wonder what could have happened if the judge hadn't blocked the order.
Imagine the chaos. A major law firm suddenly unable to work with the federal government. What would that mean for their clients?
It would have been a huge mess. Perkins Coie themselves said that clients were already getting nervous and considering dropping them just because of the threat of this order.
Wow, so the impact would have gone way beyond just the firm itself. Could have affected tons of people and organizations.
Absolutely. And the judge pointed this out too. She highlighted that the order wouldn't just hurt Perkins Coie's 1,200 lawyers.
Most of whom I'm guessing had nothing to do with the whole Steele dossier situation.
Exactly. But it would also hurt their 2,500 non-lawyer employees. Think of all the support staff, assistants, IT people, and everyone else who keeps a firm like that running.
It really highlights the potential for collateral damage when something like this happens.
It does. And to make matters worse, Perkins Coie didn't even have a chance to defend themselves before the order was issued.
Wait, so they were basically sentenced without a trial?
That's the point Judge Howell was making. And it goes back to that Queen of Hearts comparison. Remember her famous line, sentence first, verdict afterwards.
Oh yeah, I see the connection now. It's like Trump was trying to bypass all the rules and procedures.
That's how the judge saw it. She basically said this is a blatant attempt to circumvent due process.
It sounds like she saw this as a pretty serious abuse of power.
Definitely. And, we always like to check in with expert opinions and commentary on these issues. And legal analyst Glenn Kirshner, who has a popular YouTube channel, had some strong words about this whole situation.
He didn't hold back, did he?
Not at all. He called Trump a discount dictator and said this was all real dictatorial stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. He even went so far as to call Trump an aspiring dictator in the Oval Office.
He did. And he sees the courts as a crucial line of defense against this kind of behavior.
Like a last firewall protecting democracy?
Exactly. And he believes we're going to see more judges stepping up and blocking these kinds of actions from Trump.
That's an interesting prediction. It sounds like he believes the judiciary is going to be a major player in all this.
He does. And he ended his analysis with a very simple but powerful statement. Justice matters.
Powerful indeed. It reminds us why all of this matters so much. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the key takeaways our listeners should keep in mind?
Well, I think this situation really highlights the importance of the Constitution and the rule of law.
Especially those parts that protect our fundamental freedoms.
Exactly. We saw how even a president can't just ignore those rights and do whatever they want.
And it shows how important it is to have a strong and independent judiciary that's willing to hold those in power accountable.
Absolutely. Judge Howell's ruling reminds us that no one is above the law.
And it makes you think, doesn't it?
About what?
Well, about how important it is for us to understand our rights and be vigilant in protecting them. Because if we're not careful, things can quickly start to resemble a scene from a fairy tale.
A fairy tale where the Queen of Hearts gets to decide everyone's fate. And that's definitely not the kind of world we want to live in.
It's a powerful reminder of the fragility of our democratic system and the importance of defending it.
Thanks for joining us today, everyone. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the news that matters. Until then, stay informed and stay engaged.
And remember, justice matters.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.